Hi, thank you for having me here at Mega Conference. My name is Audrey Peacock. I'm the Executive Director of the Alabama Association for Gifted Children, a nonprofit organization. I am also a retired teacher. I started my career in the general education classroom in elementary school, then later became certified in gifted education and finished my career out at the Birmingham City Schools GATE program, and then later in St. Clair County, where I served as a gifted specialist at the Moody Elementary and Moody Middle School. So I retired about 4 years ago, but I've remained active in gifted advocacy in the state of Alabama, and just recently started this position as executive director. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the importance of gifted education in Alabama and why we need your help in advocating, and we also need your children. It's very important because you are a voter, and also your parents of your students are voters, and they have the power to make a difference in the lives of their children at the school level and at the state level. I want to talk a little bit about my experience as a parent of a gifted child. Before I was even a gifted teacher, my son was identified in second grade. That's something they still do. He got so much out of his gifted classes. And the great thing is he actually had a gifted teacher assigned to him all the way through high school. It didn't end at fifth grade. It didn't end at sixth grade. He had somebody. Even when he was in AP classes, he still had that teacher to go to. And if you know gifted kids, they need that extra help sometime for all the different reasons. But one of the things I'm most grateful for was he had a middle school gifted teacher, and she's the one who opened him to the world of computer programming. And this was before everybody had one of these cell phones, and even before this laptop I'm on. He learned on a big old Mac, those computers that were in there 20 plus years ago. I'm showing my age or telling my age. And that's where he found his passion, and that's where his career is today. And so I'm forever grateful for that teacher. And I'll give a shout out to Miss Boudry, who's now retired, and also all his other wonderful gifted teachers he had along the way. So I know the importance. The sad thing is, in that same school district, they stop servicing gifted children at about grade 6, maybe 5. I know most are 3 through 5. Like, the kids quit being gifted at grade 5. So it's puzzling, but I know it's a matter of money. Everything's down to money. So I want to share my screen, and let's see. I wanted to start with this presentation. Here we go. Okay, let me first tell you a little bit about the Alabama Association for Gifted Children. So forgive me if I'm having to look at my notes because I'm a little nervous and I don't want to forget anything. Alabama Association for Gifted Children, also known as AAGC, is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization of parents, educators, and community stakeholders working together to advocate for education that meets the unique academic and affective needs of the gifted children and youth in the state of Alabama. One of the goals of our organization, the Alabama Association for Gifted Children, is to provide the opportunity to create a grassroots network that could effectively serve as an advocate for the gifted and high ability student. Our mission of the Alabama Association for Gifted Children is to provide leadership and support to assist educators, parents, and community partners in meeting the educational effective needs of gifted children and youth in Alabama. Our organization is made up of gifted teachers, regular ed teachers, administrators, principals. We have a few legislators who come to our meetings to support us, and some businesses. So I want to tell you a little bit more about why we want to advocate. State law requires that all school districts identify and provide services for gifted children and youth. How is this done is defined by each district's LEA, local education agencies plan. This may vary from district to district, but it has to be approved by the State Department of Education. It can look different in many districts, from pull-out programs for just grades 3 through 5, which is the majority, unfortunately, of our schools. And it may occasionally have programs for middle school and high school. Those are far and few between. Do students stop being gifted after grade 5? Of course not. Most LEA plans that they do, they only offer things like honors classes, pre-AP, AP, but those are not gifted classes. Students are identified primarily through what is called the second grade child find, and that's where all second grade students are screened for giftedness. However, a child can be tested as young as age 6 in the state of Alabama if they're in public school, and anytime after that by a teacher or a parent can be requested to be tested or screened, as long as that student's 6 years old. Funding for gifted education teacher units is not provided in the state education budget, but must be provided by the school's already stretched district budgets. And did you know there is 0 federal funds coming for gifted education anywhere? The definition of gifted is intellectually gifted children and youth are those who perform or who have demonstrated the potential to perform at high levels in academic or creative fields when compared with others of their age, experience, or environment. These children and youth require services not ordinarily provided by the regular school program. Children and youth possessing these abilities can be found in all populations, across all economic strata, and in all areas of human endeavor. So how much does the federal spend? I already mentioned like 0. The federal provides 0 to local school districts or states at all. Let's see if I skipped over. This is 6 year, but I want to go back. This is the example of the bell curve. You all know what the bell curve is, of where giftedness lies. And the percentage is the same as those with students with disability. Approximately 5 to 10% of any students, any demographic, are going to need educational experiences that are different from the typical learner. Just like we provide services for students with disability, gifted and talented students also need to. This is an example of the state funding in 2014-15. I don't have the entire funding for all the states now, but this gives you an idea of the disparity. And we are further along than this, but it's still not great. You can see how much Alabama spent for 61,431 students, a little over $1 million. That's like pennies per student. Notice Arkansas also has partial, but look at the difference from 1 million to 35 million. Look at Florida. Do you notice they have full funded? They fully fund. Georgia fully funds. You hear a lot of parents taking their kids to Georgia. You can see why. They believe in putting money behind it. Louisiana partial, but they do say 1 teacher unit per 40 gifted students, which is what our mandate is, but it's not funded. So I know my experience, I would have 120 to 130 on my caseload. There just wasn't funds for another teacher. That's very common. And then there are some counties in Alabama who have 0 gifted teachers. What's happening to those students? It could be there's no money, and also the lack of funding to get teachers there. So you can see the rest of where it lies out. So all of them are partial. Mississippi, I just love seeing Mississippi full, 1 teacher unit per 40 gifted students. How amazing. This is another breakdown on a bar graph so you can see the disparity. This was last year's funding. We just now got 2022, and we did have an increase, but you can see the difference, how much gifted got, how much prison ed got, ELL or ESL, distance learning. I'm sure that ended up having to be more than that. We had some CARES Act and AMSTI, ARI, pre-K, and that has really increased. And these are all great areas, but why is gifted so low? We are grateful for the amount we got this year. For this coming year, $4,875,000. So we're far from the 1 million, but not from the where we need to be, which I'll talk about in a minute. Of the 4,875,000, 875,000 of that is for grants, where school districts have to write grants to get some of that money, but none of this is for teacher units. It's only for supplies and that sort of thing, and however the district deems to use that money. Okay, so how will full funding of gifted education help Alabama? Raise achievement, challenge these students to go above and beyond what is in their regular classroom, decrease the number of students going to other states, leaving Alabama, and we have seen a large portion of these students leave, especially the public schools. Decrease dropouts. I've seen my own personal experience, some of my former students that got into high school, and if they barely got out by the squeak of their teeth, you know, they dropped out. So decrease dropouts from the gifted population. And did you know a large percentage of these students are in our prison population? We have quite a bit of students who were identified at one time as gifted and maybe not identified that were gifted. Decrease the dropout rate. Okay, increase leadership potential to Alabama. Let's keep these smart kids here that can be our future leaders. Increase job creation due to expansion of new businesses and their entrepreneurial spirit and skills. We could use more and more businesses with these new ideas. And we have some fabulous pockets of giftedness in our state. And I've seen growth in that, but we'd like to see more. But also enhance innovation and creativity in Alabama. Full funding will keep us from squandering our natural resources, which is Alabama's best minds. Okay, now I want to talk to you about how you can help AAGC and advocate for the gifted students in the classroom and all the way to the State House. This is our contact information. You can reach us at alabamagifted@gmail. I'll share the AAGC Facebook group, and we have a Twitter. We also have an Instagram now. Okay, now I want to stop share on this, but then I want to come back. Save that. And I want to share the screen and show you our webpage. I think I got away from it. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, you don't want to see that. Okay, here we go. All right, this is our AAGC webpage. It's the Alabama Association for Gifted Children. It tells you a little bit about us. And we have a wonderful conference coming in October that is open to everyone. And we also have some, let me move my picture out of the way. There's the conference 2021. For you general ed teachers, there's actually some scholarship for, let me see if I can find that. It's in here. Educator grant application. That's if you're writing a grant. Well, it's here in one of these, and if you want information about that, I will get it to you. I don't want to take all this time looking for it. I should know where it is. But we have, once you log in, we also have lots and lots of webinars. I want you to see what's coming up. These are our keynote speakers for our conference. Ginger Lumen and Colin Seal, great, interesting, you would just love it. This is not just for gifted teachers. We have a PD webinar series coming up, and it's this week during Mega Conference, but Beth Barrow. So if you're a member, if you miss it, you can go back and watch the replay, because we do have webinars that we started last summer, and we've had just anywhere from technology to fine arts, sciences, just anything you imagine. And if you have anything you would like for us to cover, let us know. But I want to go over our advocacy and legislative page. One thing we do every year is Gifted Education Month, and that's to bring the awareness, course, is something that we need to work on all the time. So we also get Governor Kay Ivey. She gives a proclamation that it's Gifted Education Month, and we have a copy of that in here. But the important thing is to know your elected officials. We cannot make a difference until we can increase the funding. Well, more difference. I won't say that we're not making a difference, because do you know one thing that a lot of you, unless you went into gifted certification program, you probably never got any classes in gifted. I know when I was in my general ed classes, there was maybe one chapter in the special ed book that was a requirement for us. So there's really very little gifted on how to teach a gifted student. So that's one of the things we would like to be part of the mandate, is to require more gifted classes required for undergraduate, so they would know more how to teach these unique needs of students. So we've got all kind of ways to look up your lectures. There's a link for one where you can type in your address. I can go in there and type. Y'all can come see me. Let's see. It says outside the state of Alabama. Well, I don't think so. Let's just put in the zip. There we go. And it's going to tell me all of our elected officials, all of the state level especially. Then you can go back. I've got more to show you. This is the Alabama State Legislature homepage. This is really cool. This would make an excellent lesson for your children. I could see doing a CyberHunt and looking for information on here to teach them about the legislative process, just all kinds. There's a glossary. You want to know about any bills that have been filed. Of course, the session is just over, so everything's out. It's cleared out now. Session's over. Then let me go back. Okay, we want you to make sure that you let them know when you contact them. Phone calls, personal visits, get them in your classroom. They enjoy coming to classrooms. They enjoy seeing, and the kids love to show what they've been doing and what they've been learning. Phone calls, personal visits, always the best. Invite them. Local school board members. When's the last time your local school board came through your school or came to your class? Let them know who you are. They need to know the great things that you're doing in your classes. The State Board of Education, that is one of our untapped people that we really need to be reaching out to. This is your State Department of Education. Look who's over at Kay Ivey. The Honorable Kay Ivey is up for election, so we'd love her to come into our classroom. And these are all your members by district. So you may have to do a little research to see which district you're in. You probably know who yours is. And it gives her contact information. I believe, well, it's just her phone number and their email. So you should be able to get them. I think Yvette Richardson is the Birmingham area, I'm pretty sure. Also, we have this that you can share with them. This is like a condensed version. This is the PowerPoint I just showed you. And this is a great 2-page handout that you could email as an attachment. What is a gifted student worth? Alabama needs to invest. And I won't read that out to you, but it gives you a lot of stats, economics. Their higher educated individuals are arrested less, are healthier, live in better equipped homes, and provide better support for the education of their children. That's usually the truth. So this is great. And there's thinking about the Excellent Gap. Excellent Gap is a whole nother great report that you can research. It's wonderful. So that would be a good starting point if you were going to email them. And then I have it divided by House of Representatives, by district, and by their name. So you can actually find them if you may know yours. And let's see, here's the one about zip code. And I want to show, this is a different one. Okay, I'm going to put in Double Springs. And notice this is everybody, starting from the president. And this is, for mine, is Robert Adderholt. And it's going to give me his information. And yes, you need to contact your federal people because they need to be funding some gifted education. These are everybody in the state. And okay, when I go to my representatives, it shows 2. Well, I know I had to go in and put my full address because I know that mine is Tim Wadsworth. So I can click on there. He needs an updated picture because I'll show you his actual website is totally different, but it tells me a little bit about him. I've already reached out to him and thanked him for the increase in the budget. And I'm going to go talk to him again, and hopefully he'll come by and visit some of our schools out this way. So that is a good way to get to know who your elected official is at the state level. We also love for you to write letters if you just don't know what on earth to write, because, you know, snail mail, sometimes they're going to look at more than a full mailbox, email box. So we have a sample that your students, they wouldn't write all this, they would pick out the points that's for them, or they can make their own. And you know what? We have some wonderful products that we've seen younger children do. They love a picture drawn for them. We have a letter for you as a teacher or for parents, and it's got the stats, and we're going to get this updated later when we get everything finalized. And this is pretty much, it spells out all the different ways that you can contact. So that's how you can advocate, is to talk to these elected officials. And if you need help with any of that, or you want advice, we have a great Facebook group that you have to be a member of to see it. It is private. So we have parents who will pose questions and get help. We have all kind of information across the state of things for you to learn more about what's going on in the state. And the last thing I want to show you is our video that you can also, it is on the, let me go back, it's on the front page here, but it's also on YouTube that you can pull up, or you can send this to them. But I have it right here that I can play for you.
Gifted students are one of Alabama's most prized resources. It is time to invest in Alabama's gifted children. Gifted students are unique individuals. They are born with brains that are wired differently. They think at a different level. They ask questions, make connections, and reach conclusions that set them apart from other children their age. They have creative strengths and insightful ideas.
To me, being gifted is having the ability to just learn at a faster pace.
A lot of people assume that being gifted is you being smart, just having to be smart and all intelligent and all that. But really it's not. It's about you thinking outside of the box and your intelligence particularly.
There are approximately 6.4 million gifted individuals in the United States. Alabama has over 61,000 gifted students. Gifted individuals are found in all ethnicities and all socioeconomic groups across all populations. There is no federal law mandating gifted education and no funds to states to support the education for gifted learners. In Alabama, state law mandates each district identify and provide gifted education services to eligible students. Finding the right educational fit for gifted students is critical.
Our normal class, we just learn the basics, math, science, and reading. But in GRC, we can learn more, like learn how to code, because I think coding is really fun. I like to code with Scratch and CS first. And I like projects like games. I want to be an engineer for NASA.
Gifted learners need opportunities to learn alongside peers with similar abilities and interests. Curriculum for the gifted needs to be differentiated, providing both choice and challenge so that gifted students grow as learners. Problem-based learning, coupled with authentic experiences, can motivate gifted students who often declare school is so boring. Learning activities that extend beyond the traditional classroom give gifted students opportunities to develop important skills such as time management, decision-making, risk-taking, and leadership.
Being gifted is more of using those talents and to help others so they can learn more.
It helps me feel like I'm actually learning something instead of just sitting in a class memorizing facts.
There are consequences of not attending to the needs of our most promising students. Gifted students from diverse and disadvantaged backgrounds are losing ground with achievement scores flatlining by 5th grade. Gifted students are the most underachieving of all learners. As many as 40% of gifted students underachieve, mostly due to boredom. About 1/3 of all high school dropouts are gifted students. For Alabama to compete globally, we need to invest in the capable and creative minds of our gifted students. Our neighbors in Georgia and Mississippi fully fund their state's gifted education mandate. It is time for Alabama to step up and appropriately fund the education our gifted students deserve.
We use a different part of our brain that if we weren't gifted, we wouldn't be able to use. Plus, we have more freedom in gifted class to think outside of the box than in a regular class. It gives us opportunities to be able to actually think and struggle and grapple with the question.
If we're going to keep our most talented individuals in Alabama and ensure that our state grows economically, we must invest in our most capable and creative minds.
To me, being in the gifted class is important because I get things that challenge me. And if I keep getting things that challenge me, I can become better in life.
Parents, educators, business and community leaders are encouraged to contact their state legislators to support full funding for gifted education in Alabama. Investing in gifted education is an investment in Alabama. For more information, contact the Alabama Association for Gifted Children or visit the website at alabamagifted.org.
So thank you for spending time with me. I hope you're enjoying the mega conference. If I can be of service to you with anything that has to do with gifted education, please reach out to me at executive director at alabamagifted.org or alabamagifted@gmail.com. Hope you have a great rest of your conference, and I thank you for your time.